Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio's Update with Andy Wint.
First of May, good evening, it's 5:30. This is Update for Friday, 8th of September 2023 from Manx Radio. 30 minutes to look at the latest news on the Isle of Man and background to that news with sport and business and Sea-Watch and travel updates and the newsmakers in person. This evening, NHS dentist waiting list up 14% in the last 6 months. The latest COVID-19 booster jabs available from Monday. Douglas Council says recycling has quadrupled. Is Aldi preparing to open a branch on the Isle of Man, and the Ravens fly into the Bowl tomorrow evening.
Man Benham for all your business and legal needs.
First of all, at 29 minutes ahead of 6 o'clock, the Update News headlines. First of May, Dave Moore.
First of May, a teenager from Douglas will be sentenced next month after being found guilty of stabbing another man. Callum Kelly of Spring Valley Road was convicted following a trial at the Court of General Jail Delivery, which started on Monday. The Isle of Man Steampacket Company is apologising after the Manxman had problems docking at Heysham earlier today. This was due to an onboard warning relating to bow thrusters used in manoeuvring within the harbour. After a delay, passengers and vehicles were able to disembark. The Manx Emergency Doctor Service will close again tonight from midnight until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's not the first time they've been unavailable this week. They say this is due to staffing issues. The Met Police says there's been a confirmed sighting of Daniel Khalif escaping from a lorry at Wandsworth Roundabout on Wednesday morning. There have been 100 calls from the public so far. They're offering a reward of up to £20,000 for information that leads to his arrest. The crumbling concrete that has closed schools across England and Wales has been discovered at Heathrow and Gatwick airports. Gatwick says no concerns were raised after an inspection of the sites in June this year. And the Channel Tunnel Terminal in Folkestone has been reopened after an earlier incident. Bomb disposal experts investigated a suspicious vehicle and a man was detained. Those are the Update News headlines. The next bulletin is at 6.
Man Benham. Contact us by phone, video call, email or face-to-face. We're happy to connect with you. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Gurumaya, thank you, Dave. From the Ronalds Bay Met Office, there's no wind warning in operation for the North Irish Sea. State of sea is smooth or slight, and the weather dry with hazy sunshine this evening. Light to moderate winds coming in from the south or southwest. It'll be dry with low cloud and mist tonight and a light breeze. Overnight minimum 15. And for Jasan, Saturday will be dry, bright and humid. There's some coastal mist around in a light to moderate south-southwesterly. Daylight maximum 23 tomorrow, remaining dry after dark and down to 17 through the night. For Jaduni, Sunday will be dry and bright in a light variable breeze. There will be some showers edging in last thing in the day. Top temperature 21. Tides on the way back in. High water's 12 minutes past 7. Sunset 7 minutes to 8. Low water 13 minutes before 2 a.m. Sunrise 20 to 7 tomorrow morning. And the morning high tide at 16 minutes to 8.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
The waiting list for an NHS dentist has grown by 14% in the last 6 months, and the only way to tackle it will be to introduce eligibility criteria for patients. Manx Care's Director of Operations, Oliver Radford, gave an update at the healthcare provider's September board meeting.
Since April, we've seen a 14% increase in our dental waiting list. That's 484 patients have gone onto the dental waiting list, which obviously is moving in the wrong direction. There is a business case going through at the moment which seeks to remedy a lot of that contractual imbalance in terms of us not having many levers to improve the performance of contractors, dental contractors with us. And that is just in the process of going through the business case review group, but that's clearly something that we need to discuss with the DHSC around the overall funding for dental services on the island, because clearly what we have in our budget in terms of the number of units of dental activity that we commission, clearly simply isn't enough to satisfy the need for NHS dental care. So I think there is some conversations that we have to have with the DHSC relating to the underlying funding for that service and whether there is any other things that we can put in place to try to manage the demand for NHS dentistry, whether that's amending the charges for NHS dentistry or maybe even introducing eligibility criteria for that is an area that obviously we need the HSC support and sponsorship from.
Delays this evening at Ronaldsway. The inbound EasyJet from Manchester is delayed. Consequently, the outbound will be late going out. Data from the Isle of Man Constabulary has been published, which shows the number of incidents officers were involved with over the Manx Grand Prix. Here's Christian Jones.
A total of 51 endorsable fixed penalty notices were issued. Among those, 47 were for speeding. Meanwhile, only 4 fixed penalty notices were handed out. 5 people were arrested with drug driving accounting for 3 arrests, but none were made for drink driving offences. Road traffic collisions were also down, with officers telling us 2 serious injury RTC incidents occurred, which is 3 fewer than the previous figure of 5 last year, something the force is putting down to a successful Know Your Limits campaign. Sergeant Taylor from the Roads Policing Unit thanked partner agencies for their assistance during the MGP period, especially around the Centenary Lab, and also to the Department of Infrastructure, who provided staffing cover at particular crossing points, which he says reduced considerable burden on the constabulary.
We have ShopRite, we have the Co-op, Marks & Spencer and Tesco, but could Aldi open a store on the Isle of Man? The giant German supermarket chain says they're opening 500 new branches across the British Isles. Here's Dave Moore.
Yesterday, Aldi opened their 1,000th store in the UK when they cut the ribbon on their new premises at Woking in Surrey. In doing so, the company announced they're committed to opening up 500 new supermarkets across the country. But will this include the Isle of Man? Well, Manx Radio asked Aldi Direct if the island will be included in their plans and received this reply.
While there are towns and areas that don't have an Aldi, we are committed to continue growing and making affordable, high-quality food accessible to all.
Read into that what you will. After Manx Radio reported the story, listeners have taken to social media to express their opinions, with many hoping Aldi do indeed set up on the island. Over 200 people commented about the topic on the station's Facebook page alone. Since opening their first store in 1990, they're now Britain's 4th biggest grocer, with every £1 in 10 going through their tills.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300.
A year on from the introduction of fortnightly bin collections, Douglas Council says recycling in the city has quadrupled. Here's our local democracy reporter Emma Draper.
The decision, made by Douglas Council last September, was seen as controversial by some residents. The local authority says its aim was to increase recycling rates from a static 5% and promote responsible waste management. It says the rate is now at 20% and believes the strategy has worked from that perspective. The change means bin and recycling collections are done on alternate weeks. It also started a curbside garden waste collection service, which started in February and will run to November this year. The chair of the Environmental Services Committee, Falk Horning, claims the council is committed to carrying out a review of the fortnightly bin collection service once it has a full year of data. He says the majority of residents in Douglas have adjusted to the change and claims it has never been about cost and was instead to minimise the environmental impact and promote responsible waste management. Councillor Horning has praised residents who've engaged positively with the scheme and said their cooperation supports the island's biosphere credentials and reduced raw material extraction.
After 6 consecutive games on the road, the Ravens are flying back to the Bowl this Saturday when FC Isle of Man face Prestwich Hayes in the NWCFL Premier Division. Ravens boss Paul Jones explains the things they've learned from a disappointing defeat in midweek to try and take into the weekend.
We're becoming even more aware of what we're good at, and we see ourselves doing it on a regular basis, and if we are able to maintain that consistency over 80-85 minutes of a game, we tend to get results. And against Pilkington, we performed really well in large parts of the game, caused them problems. We probably should have scored more goals than we did, but like there's those 15-minute spell that's split out over the 90 minutes that ultimately has cost us the game. So, we had some calm, good, open, honest conversations at the end of the game in terms of how we needed to remember what we're good at and move forward, ready for Saturday. And I think everyone's looking forward to getting out in front of a home crowd a Saturday evening and, getting those performance levels to where they need to be. Speaking to the Pilkington manager after the game, he was really impressed with Prestwich, and, he listed them as one of the best teams they've played this season. We're expecting a very difficult game. We're higher than them in the league as things stand, but, the gaps between kind of lower mid-table and third place are really, really small, aren't they? Because everyone's beating everybody and everyone's drawing with everybody over the last kind of 2 weeks. So there's a big push from a lot of teams to get into those promotion places, and, there could be 12, 13, 14 teams all believing they're capable of going up this season. So Prestwich will be a really stiff test. We're looking forward to it. We can't certainly turn up on Saturday thinking just because they're below us in the league it's going to be an easy game. So we've really got to make sure we're focused from minute 1 through to minute 105 or whatever added time we might get on Saturday to give ourselves the best chance of getting the 3 points.
Sea Watch with the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company.
Motor vessel Manxman left Heysham at 16 minutes past 3. She'll be into Douglas, gone 6:30, probably on the link span closer to 7 o'clock. This evening's departure, 8:15 Ben Macree to Heysham, back at 2:15 a.m. into Douglas at 6 tomorrow morning. Manannan, the fastcraft, didn't leave until about 25 to 5. She won't be into Liverpool till about 8 o'clock. And the sailing will run with a delay. It was 7:15 departure from Liverpool. Now it's 9 o'clock. So she's going to be back closer to midnight than before. Tomorrow morning's departure, 7:15 Manannan heads to Liverpool, 8:45 Manxman to Heysham.
Like the Steam Packet on Facebook for the latest sailing information.
Issues with the Isle of Man's tourist sector have been raised on Manning Line today, and concerns over the tired look of some areas. Jed Power runs a tourism transport organisation. Jed thinks more could be done to make visitors here time more enjoyable.
I think we can all walk round and find faults. You go past Tynwald Hill and there's a big sign there just saying, get off the grass, use the steps. And you think, hang on, it's not an issue. Let's look and be welcoming and positive and send the right message. And we do need to, modernise what we do. You look at some of the heritage sites and they're looking a little bit tired. But this is about pride and identity. And we need a minister. We need a personality, we need a face to take a grip of tourism and actually take control and take ownership and bring the Isle of Man public with them. Because at the moment, and I'll say this, we're missing the F word. There is no fun being sent out. There's no message. There's nothing new, and that is what we've got to correct.
Manx Radio Business Briefing.
At 17 minutes before 6, Roundhill Music Royalty Fund's shares surged today after it agreed to be bought by Alchemy Copyrights for around $468.8 million, a premium of 67.3% to the closing share price yesterday. Since its IPO in November 2020, Roundhill's invested in a portfolio of music rights comprising 51 catalogues, representing a collection of over 150,000 songs. Alchemy, which trades as Concord's been an active acquirer of music rights and companies for more than a decade. Since 2015, it's deployed more than $2 billion of capital and completed more than 100 transactions across recorded music publishing and theatricals. And for a full daily market report, go to ramseycrookall.com.
The Stock Market Report, brought to you by Ramsey Crookall.
UK and European markets choppy, but end of the day in positive territory. The dollar gained, oil hovered about $90, and gold firmed while investors hunkered down for more economic data next week to gauge the Fed Reserve's interest rate rise plans. The numbers from Ramsey Crookall reporting at the close in London. The FTSE 100 up 0.5% at 7,478. The DAX in Frankfurt up 0.09%, barely 0.1% up, but up 15,733. And a short time ago in New York City, the Dow Jones Industrial up 0.4% at 34,626. The Nasdaq Tech Stocks Index up nearly 0.6% at 13,827, and the S&P 500 up nearly 0.5% in Chicago at 4,471. In the exchange markets, the British pound sterling is currently trading at $1 dollar 24.7 cents, 1 euro 16.4 cents, and 23 South African rand 82.7 cents. In commodities, gold's up barely at the moment, almost 0.1% at $1,919 per troy ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude up nearly a percentage point at $90.60.
You've got an investment plan?
Yeah, Mike set it up.
But don't you need loads of money to do that?
Not this one. It's called Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, and you pay in monthly as little as £100. So it's like saving regularly, really helping us invest in the future for a house, or the kids' education.
£100 a month? I could easily do that.
You should. The sooner you start, the better.
Invest in your future with as little as £100 a month. Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, the island's investment specialist for 75 years. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Isle of Man Water Sports. Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Here's the relevant information. If you're sailing, kayaking, windsurfing, paddleboarding, sea swimming, diving or surfing this weekend, warm and humid coastal mist and fog at times. Sea temperatures 16 Celsius. For Saturday, the wind is south or southwesterly, force 3 or 4, soon becoming variable, force 3 or less. Wave height 0.1 to 0.5 metres, wave period 7 seconds. High tide 7:45 a.m, 8:45 p.m. And for Sunday, the wind is variable, force 3 or less, wave height 0.1 to 0.4 metres, wave period 6 to 8 seconds, and high tides 9:15 a.m.
Manx Glass and Glazing can produce bespoke splashbacks for your kitchen in any colours. Speak to the team on 674 573.
The Isle of Man in 30 minutes. Update on Manx Radio with Andy Wint.
Faster by, the latest COVID-19 booster becomes available on the Isle of Man from Monday. The autumn vaccine programme's been brought forward. The details from Siobhan Fletcher.
The initiative falls in line with the United Kingdom, who will also be offering the jab at the same time as the Isle of Man. The move was announced by the UK's Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisations following the identification of COVID-19 variant BA.286, which was first discovered in London a fortnight ago. The booster is designed to offer greater protection to those who are at higher risk of serious disease. Manx Care says where possible it will be administered alongside seasonal flu jabs. This will apply to anyone over the age of 65, residents in a care home, frontline health and social workers, any individual over the age of 5 who is in a clinical risk group, or those living with someone who has a suppressed immune system. Also included are carers aged 16 or older as defined by the Immunisation Green Book. Meanwhile, adults over 18 years of age will be offered the seasonal flu jab at their appointment. Manx Care says they'll contact anyone if their health records suggest they may be eligible. Appointments can also be made online via the booking system, by calling the vaccination team on 111 or by emailing vaccinations@gov.im.
Manx Radio Sport.
Faster my, Rob Pritchard and Darren Timpson.
Faster my, good evening. Starting with football, and week 2 of the 23-24 Manx football season beckons on Ireland on Saturday. Games once again across all 4 of the men's leagues from the Premier League down to Combination 2 are scheduled, with all but one tie to kick off at 2:30pm. Among those games, early Premier League pace setters Laxey will play their first home game of the season when they host Union Mills at Glen Road. The only game not starting at 2:30 is the Premier League clash between St Mary's and Russian. That will start at the earlier time of 1:45.
In rugby, after a narrow opening day defeat last weekend, Douglas will be hoping for better fortunes in their first away game of the new season tomorrow afternoon. They'll travel to face Kirby Lonsdale in the Regional 2 Northwest, with Douglas as host having been relegated from the tier above in the last campaign. Manx Radio's rugby correspondent Dave Christian thinks this could be an opportunity for the island side to get some early points on the board.
Thinking positively going into the game is probably the best way to do this. Kirby Lonsdale on the way down, Douglas potentially with a chance to pick up some points on the road.
The new Manx hockey season gets underway tomorrow with the first fixtures in the latest Mixed League campaigns. Among the opening day ties, Mixed Premier League champions Backers A begin their title defence against Harlequins A. Manx Radio hockey correspondent Ben Cunningham thinks it'll be a real baptism of fire for the newly promoted Harlequins side.
Harlequins will definitely be looking to make a statement to prove that, they're in this Premier League and to stay up in the Premier League, but Backers A, I think, will give them a taste of what's to come.
And finally, in motorsport, the 2023 British Enduro Championship will be making its way to the north of the island this weekend. Ramsey will host 2 rounds of the event this Saturday and Sunday, specifically rounds 5 and 6 of the ACU competition. Among the entry lists are several Manx competitors, including Daniel McCanney, Jed Etchells and Max Ingham.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Inbound tonight, the 5:30 EasyJet from Manchester won't be in until about 20 to 7 tonight. The 6 o'clock EasyJet from Bristol expected about 10 minutes early. The 10 to 8 Loganair from London City is on time. The 5 to 8 Loganair from Liverpool on time. And the 8:30 EasyJet from London Gatwick, fingers crossed, on time. Outbound, the 5:30 EasyJet to Liverpool went out just about now, just a few moments ago. The 6 o'clock EasyJet to Manchester obviously delayed until about 7:15 tonight. Outbound Loganair 6 o'clock to Liverpool is going on time at the moment. The 6:30 EasyJet to Bristol on time. The 9 o'clock return to Gatwick is on time. From 6 o'clock tonight on the roads, 6 tonight till 10 o'clock Sunday, there are some restrictions on minor roads in the north for the Ramsey Enduro, including Ballath Plantation Road, Mount Carron Road, the Ballymanock Road and Rollock Road, so do take care. Near Foxdale, the Garth Road's closed between Foxdale Road and Tossabit Road. Temporary lights at St John's between Ballacrane and Balake Bridge. In Kirkmichael, temporary lights on the main road for the road surface repairs. In Ramsey, temporary lights on West Quay for emergency work to the harbour wall, and lights on Richmond Road in Ramsey for pavement work. Ballagorn Road, Ballabeg is closed for ditching work. East Quay and Peel closed between the House of Manannan and the road bridge for work on the road and pavements. Lights too on Victoria Road. They're back in Douglas at Falcon Cliff Terrace for water main work. Falcon Cliff Terrace is closed for that work. Hillside Avenue, Douglas closed till the middle of June next year for adjacent office replacement. And in Douglas, Mona Drive's closed between Empire Drive and Victoria Road for sewer lining works.
H&H Motorcycles.in for all your motorcycle requirements. Southgate Industrial Estate, opposite Quayside Tyres. Call 665646.
A Ramsey commissioner claims that the car waiting changes at Ronaldsway are affecting residents in the north who often have to leave before the planes departed. Dewar McGuinness says the recent statement from the airport, which claims people are waiting for longer than they should, could have been predicted.
The issue with living up north is you often have to leave your home if you're collecting someone from the airport before the flights left the northwest of the UK. So you can't really adjust to delays or any sort of last minute changes. Having an additional amount of time to be able to wait for whoever you're collecting in and around the airport is very helpful. Since the move to the 15-30 minutes, it's no surprise to me that the airport have come out and said they've seen an increase in people using the waiting bays, because that's just a natural result of people having to arrive earlier and not being able to, or not feeling comfortable using the car park due to the change of parking times. And when the DOI put forward their proposed change in the Courier, the commissioners did write a letter putting forward those concerns, which have obviously gone unheeded because the changes have occurred anyways. I saw that the airport have issued their concerns regarding the use of the parking bay. It strikes me as being something that's incredibly easy to predict based on their changes, and I can't see there being any result from this other than them having to increase their enforcement, pour more money into trying to enforce the rules that they've put into place. They say they're doing it to try and raise additional revenue, but I don't believe that any of the things that they've put in will increase revenue. No one's going to the airport and paying for 1 hour of parking. It's simply just not going to happen. Human nature will mean that people will try and avoid that because it's a silly charge. So the logic behind their move is fundamentally flawed. It's relatively unenforceable. It's just causing people issues, and if anything, it's going to cost them more money.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates.
Just a quick word about tomorrow in Douglas. Circular roads closed between Peel Road and Drinkwater Street from 8 until 3, 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. Tomorrow, they're removing some large trees. And on Sunday from 6 to 9 a.m, the TT footbridge at the top of St Ninians will be taken down while the bridge deck's being removed. The junction between Bray Hill and Ballaquail Road and Ballinard Road's closed to all traffic, diversions in place. And Sunday marks World Suicide Prevention Day, and a group's inviting people who've lost loved loved ones to join them at the Shed in Laxey. From bereaved survivors of suicide, David Higson.
We're having a gathering at 5 o'clock at the Shed in Laxey. We're going to also have some crafting. We've got quite a few poems to read from members. Near the end, we'll read out the names of people who have died by suicide. We'll remember them in a gathering with candles and photographs. And then also at the end, we're going to do a C-dip for all the ones who are interested. It's the 4th year that we've done the gathering. As time goes by, the pain's easing off for me. But obviously, a lot of people are new on the journey and it's very raw for them at the beginning. The strategy's been written, but obviously we're not going to see the effects of that strategy coming into play straight away. But there's so much work to do. I'm optimistic for the future, although the figures in the UK are still rising, and obviously they're still rising here in the Isle of Man. So we can't just write a strategy and forget about it. We've got to act on it. We've got to start working together, pulling together, and getting the numbers down, because it's just, one's not acceptable. And I'm 15, it's just ridiculous. As the squeeze comes with the economics of life and everything, it's going to get more difficult for people. So I've got to look out for everybody and keep working at it, definitely.
That's it for Update Tonight, compiled from the resources of Manx Radio's news department. Thanks to newsreader Dave Moore, producer Beth Espy. After the news at 6 o'clock, sports editor Rob Pritchard's here with the Friday Sport Preview, the greatest hits with Chris Kinley at 6:30, Howie Kane, Sweet and Swing Jazz at 9, and Dave Moore with After Hours tonight at 10. Have a great weekend. Back Monday, 5:30.
WINT